Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
I want to know if Tupac's still alive. I think Suge Knight actually knows.
That is a good question.
I think Tupac's out there in the world, and there's one guy who I think knows the answer to that. Suge Knight. Put him on a polygraph test, guys. Let's find out.
I'm really happy that you've thought of all these. I was thinking like in my personal life.
Yeah.
Not in the larger universe.
And I'm over here like Elon Musk. Supervillain or no? Be honest. I want to know the answer. Welcome to the Rom-Com Rewind Podcast.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Devin.
And like you, I love rewatching movies over and over again.
And you have made it here, so you probably love romantic comedies. We do as well, so we have something in common.
So this is a show where we rewatch rom-coms, break them down a bit for you, maybe take a peek behind the curtain, dig beneath the surface, and decide, does it still hold up?
Today we have
Meet the Parents.
And if you're listening to us on Spotify, make sure you follow us so that you're updated on new episodes. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Also leave a review. We love reading those. We love hearing about them. And the more reviews you leave, the more people find out about our podcast. As well, on Instagram, at Romcom Rewind. You can reach out that way. Trisha messaged us this past week and said, every Tuesday, I look forward to listening to the new episode with my coffee. So this is actually a special intro just for Trisha. Good morning, Trisha. I hope your coffee's great. She also mentioned she wants us to do Fever Pitch. Oh, and she didn't realize that Jay Baruchel was on, or she did. She remembered that Jay Baruchel was on Popular Mechanics for Kids. I had no idea.
Yes,
Wild.
It's classic.
So today's episode is Meet the Parents, a 2000 romantic comedy directed by Jay Roach. He also did the Austin Powers series, and he did Meet the Fockers, of course. This movie is the story of Greg Focker, played by Ben Stiller. He is a nurse living in Chicago, and he's dating Pam Burns, played by Terry Polo. Greg and Pam, been dating for 11 months. Greg wants to propose when, surprise, Pam reveals her sister just got engaged. Not the best timing. So Greg and Pam travel to Long Island to meet Pam's parents. So Greg was going to propose without meeting the parents. And here's the thing. Pam's father, Jack, played by Robert De Niro, he turns out to be, I think we can agree, the single most terrifying man whose daughter you could ever be dating, if that makes sense.
Yep.
He immediately engages in a very cunning kind of psychological warfare against Greg.
That's a really good way to put it.
And that's kind of the story of Meet the Parents without spoiling it too much. It's Greg Focker dating Pam Burns, wanting to propose to her, but then meeting Jack Burns for the first time.
Pam is the one Greg wants to marry.
Just relax, honey. I love you.
But before he can pop the question, he'll have to meet
Hi, Daddy.
the parents.
What are you driving there, Ford?
Oh, yeah.
It's an interesting color. You pick it?
Oh, no, the Hertz guy picked it. Why?
Well, they say geniuses pick green. But you didn't pick it.
Be nice to this one, okay?
Okay, I'll try.
Now he will enter their home.
You know, Greg's in medicine too, Larry.
Oh, really? What field?
Nursing.
Not a lot of men in your profession, are there, Greg?
And earn his way
Do you want to hear a story? I milked a cat once.
A cat?
into the family.
You know, just...
I had no idea you could milk a cat.
Oh, yeah, you can milk anything with nipples.
I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk me?
Dad?
At least that
Robert
was
De
the
Niro
plan.
just slaying this poor guy. What are your thoughts on this movie?
This movie's good. It's for sure a classic. I forgot how great it was. It does, in fact, though, give you a lot of stress and anxiety while watching it.
Oh my God, yes.
It provides a lot of anxiety-filled for the whole, almost 2 hours.
I kind of forgot how uncomfortable this movie is. It's no wonder we kind of here in North America became obsessed with the show The Office only a few years later, because it has a lot of the same kind of uncomfortable energy it's cringy and funny all at the same time in a similar way that The Office was, especially some episodes. You're like, I need to pause this. It's so uncomfortable. I just need to take a moment, like, not to spoil too much, but like specifically when he's talking about like milking the cats.
Oh my
I'm like,
God, I
this
forgot about
feels
that.
like a Michael Scott line. But
Yeah.
Which one did you milk then?
Dad,
Honey, he said he pumped milk.
what have you ever milked?
Cat?
A cat?
I milked a cat once. You want to hear a story?
Sure.
My sister had a cat, and the cat birthed a litter of kittens. Must have been 30 of them. And there was this one little runt, this little sweet little engine that could run, who could, wanted to get up there and couldn't really get access to the teat. Teat?
Dad.
What have you. I went in and just simply, just into a little saucer, and then took the saucer and fed it to Geppetto. That's what I named him, Geppetto.
I had no idea you could milk a cat.
Oh yeah, you can milk anything with nipples.
I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk me?
Okay, can we change the subject?
But you're right. This movie is certainly a classic. You rewatch it. There are scenes that, I remember line for line,
yeah.
moment for moment. It really is an iconic movie.
It is, and I think, and to bring up your point about comparing it to The Office, that is a good comparison. I didn't think of that. But do you think that that was what the comedy was at that point in 2000?
Well, I think there was a strain of comedy that's like, let's be uncomfortable and funny.
Right.
Because there are
Uncomfortably
a few...
funny.
Uncomfortably
That could
funny.
be a band name. Let's go see Uncomfortably Funny.
Yeah. What kind of band would that be?
No, I don't know.
Uncomfortably
Punk
funny.
rock?
Maybe a little punk rock. Yeah. Probably punk rock. Maybe a little grungy. They're like ironic with their names, right?
Yeah. It's like
We're uncomfortably funny.
Yeah, it's like, Uncomfortably Warm. Like that would be a really good name as well.
You should
Name bands?
Yeah, I don't know if that's a profession or not.
Using the word uncomfortably before everything?
Yes, yeah. My other thought is this the movie that helped launch Ben Stiller?
Ooh.
Because he had a few good roles previous to this.
Yeah,
like
he
there's
did.
Something About Mary, Larry the Cable Guy. Literally last night we were talking about another movie, Marvelous Men or something like that.
Oh my gosh. Is it Mystery Men? Mystery Men. Yes.
Mystery Men came out in 1999.
Yeah. Well, when did Zoolander come out?
And this is what I'm getting to.
Okay.
So Meet the Parents comes out in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
The very next year, Ben Stiller stars as Derek Zoolander. So I think...
With Owen Wilson.
With Owen Wilson. That's right, as
Hey.
Hansel. So I think... I think the combination of these two movies back to back was kind of like... That's the stamp of approval. Like, okay, Ben Stiller is now, he's a
Yeah.
guy, he can lead a movie, he can be on the movie posters and everything. Like, he can be a leading man sort of thing.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I didn't realize that Zoolander was a year after Meet the Parents.
Back to
So
back.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I do have to say Robert De Niro and Ben Stiller, they're fantastic together.
Oh, my God.
But let's be honest, meeting your future in-laws can be tough. And this movie is exactly the worst case scenario. Like, if you were to meet them. Am I wrong?
Yeah, you're not wrong, but Robert De Niro has a really interesting performance in this movie.
Yes.
Because he's... I feel like I know guys kind of like Robert De Niro, just not to
God.
that extreme.
They're not related to you, are they?
There is one who's related to me that I'm kind of like,
No!
wow, you kind of remind me of so-and-so. But just like...
Have I met them yet?
Yes, you have, actually,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It's a lot more like sarcastic, dry humor and less malicious manipulation,
Oh,
if
I
that makes sense.
Definitely think I know who it is.
Okay, yeah. So, but that's what makes this character somewhat relatable. It's like the no-name version of Robert De Niro. It's kind of the watered down, like,
The
oh, wow, that would be
no-name.
horrible to date. Like, imagine if that guy was a CIA agent, then it's Robert De Niro's character.
Yeah, okay. I can get on board with that. So the movie kicks off with the failed proposal outside of her school,
Oh my
outside of Pam's
God.
school. The fact that she doesn't turn around and he has the entire thing set up, has all of her students in the window with "Marry Me, Pam." My anxiety watching this started here in this movie, and it never ended.
Okay, well, I've got a few questions here. So Greg Fokker is going to propose to Pam.
Because I have one for you.
Okay, what's your question?
My question, he's practicing kneeling in the street.
Which is so...
on one knee, kneeling down on one knee.
What a Ben Stiller move.
Is this realistic? Like, do people practice before they propose?
Are you kidding me?
No.
Proposing is one of the most frightening things a man's going to do in his life.
Did you practice?
Yes.
You did?
Well, like, I had something
Where?
in mind of what... I practiced in my own head.
Oh, okay. You didn't physically, like, in...
No, I wasn't physically kneeling down,
Okay.
but, like, you do kind of think about it. You're like, okay, like, all right, I'm just going through all the motions in my head. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
You could put me in the most uncomfortable situation. I'd still prefer it to proposing. Not that I was unhappy to propose, but it's just like there's a lot of anxiety there. There's a
You could relate for this scene.
I am gonna rant about what he does with the ring.
Okay.
Which we're gonna get to. But okay, I've got another question. So Greg's about to propose.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
And then Pam's sister calls her and she says, "Hey, like, I'm getting engaged." Oh my God! Wow!
No,
amazing.
we are engaged.
We are engaged.
And the wedding is next weekend.
The wedding is next weekend, and thank God my now fiance asked my father's permission.
Oh, yes.
It was such an important piece. And Greg realizes, oh my God, I was about to propose to Pam without asking the father's permission. Is that an antiquated thing? Do you still need to ask the father's permission?
I think for some people, like, traditionally, it is something that I think a lot of people would like. Myself, I think, it was important to me for both my parents to know ahead of time. But I think now it's not...
it's not necessary.
It's not necessary. I think it depends on your circumstance. If you've only met them like once or twice, it's really awkward to have a conversation with them. Whereas if you've met them more and you've established a relationship, I think at that point they probably would have told their daughter, "Nah, we don't like them," or at least you'd hope. And can they really say no? Can they really tell you no? And then do you not propose? Like, what if they?
I think Jack was probably going to say no.
Probably,
right?
yeah.
I mean, to your point, like, when I proposed, it was kind of like, talking to the father. It wasn't like a can I. It was a I'm going to do this, and I'm letting you know ahead of time.
Yeah. It's more of like just a pulse check, like, hey, this is what I'm doing.
Right. A pulse check is really, it's a great way of, and it also, like, in my mind, it was kind of like a bringing them into the moment. Like, hey, this is going to happen. This is going to be a moment, and I want you to be a part of it. You're not going to be there, clearly, but, like, this moment is about to happen. So, heads up. There's going to be a theme for myself in this podcast. Maybe you'll agree.
Okay.
I think Greg Fokker makes so many ridiculous, incompetent mistakes this entire podcast, or this entire movie.
No.
What do you mean, no?
No, I think he's set up to fail.
Whoa. Oh, he does not help himself.
No, I think...
You could navigate yourself through that scenario better.
No, there is a person who sets him up for failure in this movie.
Whoa. Oh, like a phantom...
yeah, constantly, over and over and over again. And it is one of the worst...
Who is not Jack.
Correct. Who is one of the worst rom-com characters, in my
Whoa!
opinion. Yes.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
This is going to be some conflict this episode.
Yeah, we'll dive into it further on in the... it's my honorable mention.
Your honorable mention
more
is
of
how
like
horrible this person is?
A dishonorable mention this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I look forward to it.
Well, yeah. So Greg and Pam, they head to Pam's parents' place because, like you said...
He's got to meet the parents.
You got to meet the parents, and Debbie's getting married ASAP. They land, and Greg loses his luggage. Losing your luggage is nothing short of a travesty. I have lost my luggage. Actually, I've lost my luggage twice when I've traveled overseas.
Back to the proposal thing.
Yes, yeah.
So when I physically had a ring in my hand that I was going to propose to somebody with, I wanted that thing out of my possession as soon as possible. I hated having it in the house. I hid it somewhere, and I must have checked multiple times a day to make sure that it was still where it was supposed to be. So the fact that this guy is getting on a flight, like any guy who gets on a flight with a ring, oh my God, guys. Like, just think it through. I know my brother-in-law did that. He did it. He proposed in Mexico.
Right, he did.
And he was talking about putting the ring on the flight. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what? Like, oh my God, were you stressed? And he's like, yeah, I was. It was a horrible idea. I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a horrible idea.
Yeah, I think it would be. I don't think I would be having a heart attack making sure that it was there. And it sucks that you can't carry it through on your body, right? It has to be checked. Or I don't know if it has to be checked,
No,
actually.
you can carry it through. So what happened was that he kept it on his body, but when he
Okay.
was going through security, he kind of told him, he's like, hey, like, I got this in my coat pocket.
It's going to go off.
Yeah,
Just
it's
pretend
going to go
a
off.
belt.
You can take a peek at it, but, like, that's what it is.
Right.
So
Okay,
what
that's
happens.
smart. Okay.
Yeah, so he didn't check it. It wasn't, yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's good then. So Greg brings Jack a rare flower because I think he's supposed to be a botanist or a florist or something.
That was his CIA cover.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Jack says, oh, great, awesome, very dismissive, and instead is showing Greg and Pam all of his new gadgets he has and these new inventions that he's come up with. And 2 questions for you.
Yeah.
Is it customary to bring a gift for the first time you're meeting the in-laws?
Depends. Like, they were dating 11 months.
Right. They had never met before.
They had never met before. So, yes, I would say absolutely.
Okay.
I think if you're just kind of casually dating somebody and, like, date 4 or 5, you happen to meet the parents, like, they're over at the house or whatever. Like, obviously, I'm not going to bring but, like, maybe first dinner, for sure. First dinner, you bring a bottle
I like
of wine,
that.
probably. Yeah.
Yes, I like that. Go on, like, the first dinner, you're sitting down, you're
Yeah.
conversing. Yeah. Second question.
Okay.
One of the gadgets that Jack is showing them is a nanny cam.
Yeah.
Is this the original nanny cam, like, expanded from just like a teddy bear into vases and into I don't know. I think he has the whole house wired, and it's motion censored.
This was such a comedic part of the movie. It was really creepy, but it was like, I think about the end credits when
Oh my God, I love the end credits.
when De Niro like sits down and he's like, okay, what were you up to today, Fokker? And it's Ben Stiller
Yes.
in front of like something that he thinks might be a camera, and he's doing like karate moves.
I love
like,
it.
How do you feel about this? And it, yeah, like that was kind of a fun way to kind of nip some comedy in throughout the movie.
It was. Oh, I love the end credits. I love a movie that does end credits.
Yeah.
Like,
You
it's
got it.
fantastic. Well, okay, hold on. I love a movie that does video during the end credits, because every movie does
Just
end
give me
credits.
something. Yeah, the credits are a requirement.
Yeah. So this kind of moves into the dinner that evening. Jack asks Greg to say grace. Pam doesn't help him at all. She just says that he's Jewish and then continues letting Greg give grace.
Whoa. Okay, yeah, and the grace was comically bad. It was
Oh my-
really horrible.
It was awful.
But listen, I would argue that Greg Fokker could just say, "Hey guys, I don't really know how appropriate. Like, what's an appropriate grace?" Can
I
somebody
don't think
just-
there was any way out of that. I don't think Jack was
Really?
going to let him out. No. Pam just sits there and watches him sink.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Well, and he
And
sunk
doesn't
like an
even chime
anchor
in.
because he was so bad at it.
Like, she's sitting there, he's saying grace terribly, and she just lets him continue.
See, I'm gonna put this all on Greg because,
No.
like, if I'm with some of my friends who are like of a different religion, you know, they could be anything, and if they say like, "Hey, we're having dinner. Do you want to say blank?" I'd be like, "Well, I'm
There's
don't
no way
really
out of
know
it.
how to say it. How do you normally say
Would
it?"
you tell your future in-laws, and you're trying to make a really good impression because you want to get his blessing, you're going to say no to saying grace when he's asked you?
I'm not saying no. I'm just saying, hey, well, I'm not familiar with this. How do I do it properly?
Oh, okay, you'd ask.
I'm asking the questions. Yeah, I'm being honest about it. We're
Pam
up
could have
front.
helped him. Pam could have helped him.
Okay.
So then the urn disaster of 2000 happens.
Oh my God.
Having-
Hilarious.
Having the urn in the dining room is creepy, in my opinion.
Yeah. Can we talk about
For
that?
sure.
All right. Are urns in general just a little bit weird unless you are the owner of the urn, I guess?
I don't know. The owner of the urn has to do something with it.
What do you mean?
Like, has to put it somewhere.
Right.
Where do you put it?
Well, that's what I mean,
That's
right?
appropriate.
Yeah, exactly.
or on a mantle in a dining hall or dining room,
Yeah.
I guess is where they thought.
That feels weird.
It's Jack's mother.
It's Jack's mother. That's so strange.
Yeah, and I don't.
It
I
is
don't
also
think I could
strange
have
that he cheerses to her.
Oh yeah, probably.
"Here's to you, Ma."
probably every dinner.
What?
Probably every dinner.
That's weird. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no. So Greg brings in some champagne that he brought at the pharmacy.
Celebration.
Celebration.
It's a dinner. It's the first dinner.
True. Yes. Okay. So yeah, he brings in the champagne and he pops it, but at the exact same time that he pops it,
Ooh.
he finds out that Kevin, the best man, is Pam's old boyfriend, who actually was her fiance. The cork from the champagne hits the urn on the mantle, lands on the ground, and breaks, shatters. And Jinx, the cat, goes up and pees all over it.
Kevin, your old boyfriend?
Thanks, Dad.
Well, yeah, Kevin was Pam's fiance.
Oh! Oh! Oh!
Oh my God. Jinxie, no. Psst.
Oh!
Jinxie, no. Oh my God.
That scene is really funny, though.
Oh, man,
the entire
very
thing
comical.
is very awkward.
So now we've established Kevin.
Kevin.
Okay. We have Kevin, played by Owen Wilson.
We do.
We have Greg,
Yeah.
played by Ben Stiller.
Mhm.
If you're Pam, who would you pick? Businessman, carpenter, adventure enthusiast, Owen Wilson, or nurse, Chicago, nice guy, Ben Stiller?
I would pick Owen Wilson because I like his adventurous side. I think he's just like up for anything, go getter.
I was gonna say Owen Wilson just because I feel like he's a little bit more carefree, a little bit more.
Yeah,
you know,
and I mean like
having a good
all
time.
of the things like, and I talk about it a little bit later on, but everything in his house is representative of like what he's not faking what he is. He just like really likes to try new things. He enjoys skiing. He enjoys taking risks, and it's fun. And like I think he's just adventurous, and that's fun. That's great.
This brings me into something really important that I want to talk about this podcast.
Okay. Ooh, it sounds serious.
What are the singular sentences an actor is so known for
Oh my god.
that you can just do an impression of them? You can kind of like slip into an impression of them just based on that sentence. Like, for Owen Wilson, it would be, wow.
Oh, wow. Hey, it's one of your little drawings. There he goes, pole vaults over the thing. Here he goes, and there he is. Oh, wow. 7 projects. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Gonna be our honeymoon.
Wow. Wow.
I say wow like Owen Wilson all the time. Wow.
And then you kind of like, you can just kind of do the, wow, oh my God.
So good.
You know? Or we have 2 in this movie. Because
Okay.
we've also got, listen, Fokker.
Yes,
and that's the
that's
De
a
Niro.
big
That
one.
that brings you into the, listen, Fokker.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, now look, Fokker. I'm a patient man. That's what 19 months in a Vietnamese prison camp will do. to you.
Matthew McConaughey. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
totally
all right.
classic.
I get older. Yeah. Wow, that's actually a creepy line. I'm not going to say the rest of the line.
And you know what? No, don't finish that sentence. However, I also now when I see a Lincoln car,
Oh,
I
my
think
God,
of Matthew
always
McConaughey.
McConaughey.
Yeah, in his
Alone in the
silent
car.
reflections.
You just drive. You don't know where you're going.
Yes.
Where? All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The other one is every well-known actor kind of has something that you can tie it if you say it. Anchorman. Like
I was gonna say-
I like many leather-bound books, or I'm in a glass case of emotion.
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
Right? Like there's certain things that are
Yeah.
just like key. You can put them in a place and in a movie, and you're like, yeah, that's exactly what.
And then
Will
you can
Ferrell.
kind of like do a Ron Burgundy impression
Absolutely.
just from I'm in a glass case of emotion.
Yes.
I need help.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen. Cannonball!
So Greg finds out when he's there that they'll be sleeping in separate rooms. I know that they didn't know that Pam and Greg were already living together, but I remember when you brought me home to meet your mom.
The separate rooms thing was...
It was going to happen. I think you had to have a conversation, no?
Yeah, well, we were like
Yes.
mid to late 20s.
Yeah.
So, you know... what are we stopping here? You know, like I live on my own. Come on.
I can appreciate that. Like they don't know me
Can
from
you?
I can appreciate it. I'm happy it didn't happen. Like, yeah, definitely.
Because your parents were a little bit more liberal in that
They were, yeah.
anybody could sleep over at any time, at any age.
No,
Is that kind of
not
how it
at
was?
any age.
I don't understand how it was in your household.
Not at any age, but
At an earlier age?
at an earlier age,
Okay.
yeah. If I had a boyfriend, they were fine with them staying over.
That's okay. So that's blasphemous in my household, or in the household I grew up in. Should
Yeah.
I say?
Right. Did you bring a lot of girls home though?
No.
That could be also part of it.
See, and we've talked about this. Your upbringing has allowed you to be a lot more innocent in your life because you never had to lie.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. And that's, you know what, that's a good lesson for, like, probably when I become a parent. You know, my parents were very stringent. They were very, you know, the hammer of the law. And I just learned to lie to them extremely efficiently and effectively. You know, is that what I want from a kid? Probably not.
No, probably not. Yeah, it's better to know than to not know.
Sure, yeah.
Right?
Because I'm going to do it regardless. I got a car. Like, what do you think's happening to that car now?
This is true. So yeah, Greg's moved downstairs in the den and finds Jack's secret room. He sees all of these pictures with Jack with presidents and famous important people, and Jack catches him in there and asks, you know, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you finding? I heard a noise. Makes him do a polygraph test and tells him that he's a retired CIA agent. And then he talks about the good old circle of trust.
The circle of trust.
See, if I can't trust you, Greg, then I have no choice but to put you right back outside the circle. And once you're out, you're out. There's no coming back.
Well, I would definitely like to stay inside the circle.
Well, then tell me the truth.
If you could ask anyone
Yeah.
any question under a polygraph test,
Ooh.
what would you ask? Who's the person and what's the question?
I don't actually think. Is it bad to say I don't care?
You wouldn't ask anybody anything.
No, I don't think
What?
so. First off, because I've never even really seen in person a polygraph like machine.
Okay.
So it's not something that I would be like, oh, yep, I have access to that. Like, let's go.
I've got a list.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Starting with Scooter Braun. Give me the whole story with the Taylor Swift thing. Okay.
I was like, who is that?
Scooter
But
Braun,
okay,
yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Linguists. Just any linguist. Is the S or the C silent in the word sent? These are important questions. I need to know the answer to, and I'm going to know if you're lying.
Oh my God.
I want to know if Tupac's still alive. I think Suge Knight
that's
actually knows.
That is a good question.
I think Tupac's out there in the world, and there's one guy who I think knows the answer to that. Suge Knight. Put him on a polygraph test, guys. Let's find out.
I'm really happy that you've thought of all these. I was thinking like in my personal life.
Yeah.
Not in the larger universe.
And I'm over here like Elon Musk, supervillain or no? Be honest. I want to know the answer.
I would probably, I guess, ask if, like, I don't know, just to know, like, somebody from Area 51, do aliens exist?
Oh, 100%. Great
right?
question.
Like that's,
Here you go.
Right?
Now you're thinking.
Or
Yeah.
like the Loch Ness, the guy, people who have taken pictures. Like, did you genuinely think that was the Loch Ness? Like, have you seen the Loch Ness?
Mark Zuckerberg. First of all, he might be an alien. But also, how
I've
many
heard
questions could you ask him under a polygraph test? That would be so fun.
Oh, I think that would not be a good idea. I don't know if we want to know the answers.
Start a list. Who's got my info?
Right?
And them too. Wow.
I think the biggest question is only ask questions you want answers to.
Yeah, you know what? That's
right?
true. That's true.
Don't ask questions you don't want answers to.
Oh, man.
So Greg sleeps in and wakes up for breakfast, and Pam's sister and her fiance's family are all there. They've all made it to the house. I would have been so mad at Pam for, one, not waking me up and not telling me that everyone was already dressed and ready for the day.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
And she plays it off as her wanting to sleep in.
Her wanting him to sleep in.
Yes. And she's the worst. So I guess that was 1 and 2.
I don't
one
think
and
that's... Okay, so you're after Pam over that.
I'm
That's the
after
subtlest thing.
Pam for a little bit more than that.
Okay.
later on.
Wow.
But we'll find out.
Taking some shots at Pam.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. I think what we're going to find out through this podcast is that I am the Pam and you are the Greg. Because there's no concept of mine that would be like, oh, God, like, everybody's here in their dress. Like, I better make sure Sarah knows. You know what? I
think you would.
I think I would, but I don't think it would be the worst thing if I forgot. If I let you sleep.
No. Okay. No, don't do that. Don't do that. No. 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 Honestly, like, it gets worse. Greg borrows clothes from Pam's brother Denny, who he's never met before. The guys head out to get the suits, and Greg also borrows one of Denny's jackets.
Yeah, that's right.
Turns out Jack finds something in the pocket of said jacket.
It's a sculpture I found in Greg's jacket.
This isn't a sculpture, Danny. This is a device for smoking marijuana.
Really?
I have a problem with this because it's like, Jack, don't you know what your son's jackets look like? And 2, Greg has no clothes. So where would he have gotten the jacket miraculously?
And that's true. He has no luggage, so even if he was bringing a pipe to your residence, it would have gotten lost in the luggage anyway.
Like, there's
at the
so
airport.
many, like, I'm just like, come on.
Yeah.
I'm so annoyed.
Yeah, Jack was a little bit irrational at times.
Oh, my God.
Then he goes into it's the circle of trust, Fokker.
Well, yeah. And so, yeah, he finds some marijuana paraphernalia, and Denny says that it's Greg's. Jack, first off, you're a CIA agent, and you believe your child at their word? Like, come on.
That's a good point.
Doesn't he not smell like weed all the time?
He probably does, yeah.
So now Jack hates him even more, and the rest of the movie, all the characters make little jokes about how Greg smokes weed, and he gets high all the time. Anyway, frick.
Oh, it's so angry.
God.
Sarah's rattled.
You know?
You know what? You're
What?
somebody who really appreciates fairness to a severe degree. Everything needs to be fair. So I think everything that happens to Greg in this movie, you're like internalizing all that anger. Like, oh, man, this is so unfair. Like, it's clearly your son's pipe. Come on, Jack.
Oh my God. Okay, and then what happens next?
Oh, here we
They
go.
go for lunch. They meet back up with the ladies, and they head to Kevin's, the best man's house. Kevin, like you said, Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
Wow. In my opinion, he nailed this role, Owen Wilson. He did. Yeah. He was great. They walk into his house. It's massive. They broke up a little while ago, Pam and Kevin, but he still keeps pictures around of them doing spontaneous things, very fun things, but don't you think that's a little bit weird?
Definitely weird.
Okay.
But
good.
I think it's strategic.
I do as well.
Isn't it implied in the first and the second movie that he is still very much in love with Pam?
Yes. Okay, so
I think it comes up more in the second movie. Not to spoil.
Think you might be right. I can't remember the second movie because that's Meet the Fockers.
Meet the Fockers, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well, we're gonna have to do that one too.
Oh my God.
Jeez.
We'll see how unfair things are to Greg Fokker that time.
So because Kevin's house is huge, it would of course have an indoor pool.
Yes.
And since Greg doesn't have any clothes, he of course gets to borrow some, and he of course is given a Speedo to wear. Then the whole pool incident happens.
See, I can't blame Greg for this one. This was just a horrible happenstance.
I have something to say about it.
Okay, all right. Let's hear it, Sarah.
It's one thing after another here. He honestly just cannot win. They're calling him a little baby who can't hit the ball well. Yeah. So he does, and he connects with the bride-to-be's face by accident. He's yelled at, and Pam just sits there. Oh, and of course, Kevin is on Pam's team and is flirting with her the entire time.
Huddle up, come on.
Greg, not Glenn. Greg is afraid of the ball.
Come on. Well, this is unacceptable.
Gotta go for the ball.
Here's what we gotta do. We're getting cream, people.
Well, if Lawrence Nightingale over here play a little defense.
Larry, I missed one shot.
It was a big shot.
Marv, keep floating where you are. You're doing great. Right. Denny, take the deep shots. Okay. Greg, nobody's expecting much out of you, so if I set you up with the ball, you think you can jump up and spike it?
Yeah, I'd have to be pretty high, but yeah.
I bet you would, Panama Red.
He finally gets his luggage.
Oh, wait, but it's the wrong bag, no?
But it's the wrong bag. Jack notices. So first off, two things. Happen kind of at the same time. Jack takes it upon himself to go and look through his luggage, but he also notices that the toilet has been running all night, which means someone flushed it, and he told specifically, Greg, do not flush that toilet.
It's Greg's fault.
Did you flush this toilet?
Maybe, you know what? Maybe Jinx flushed it. I saw little Jinxie come in last night, and he took a little, squatted, relieved himself.
Jinx knows not to use that toilet. And even if he did, he'd never flush it.
What does it matter?
The matter, Greg, RN, is that when this toilet is flushed, it runs. And when you have a septic tank that's nearly full and a toilet that's been running all night, then you could have a hell of a problem.
That is Greg's fault.
Thank you.
The luggage is not his, though. It's filled with sex toys. And the toilet has been running all night and has backed up all over the lawn outside, where the wedding is supposed to happen the following day.
I mean, it was a whip. I wouldn't necessarily call that a sex toy. I think it was like a crop.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say dominatrix stuff.
Oh, yeah. That.
Yeah. So, yeah. And
just
then
to get the classification of what was in the luggage.
Well, what was being pulled out, I was like, nah, I'm going to classify it as that. Okay, to top it off, Jinx the cat gets out, climbs up on the roof. He can't get him, so he just sits there having a smoke because he tossed his smokes up there. Of course, he just kind of tosses the smoke, doesn't put it out first, lights it on fire in the eaves trough.
Greg Fokker's fault, correct?
That is, in fact, Greg.
Thank you.
Fokker's fault.
Yep.
Breaks the electrical wire, burns down the altar that Kevin made by hand, carved out of one piece of wood.
What a gem, Kevin.
He is truly a gem. It's chaotic. It's a disaster. Jinx is still missing. Everyone's looking for him. Pam says that everyone can go back to doing wedding stuff and that Greg will look for the cat.
Yes.
He can go and look for a cat where he's never in a place that he's never been.
He's giving him an opportunity to be a hero.
Why
which
doesn't
he
she go
almost
with him?
is. Yeah.
It's her cat. Why can't she go and help him look in all of the places that he possibly could be?
I think there was an olive branch being extended that if Greg finds this cat, Jack will like him.
And if he doesn't, Jack will hate him even more.
Perhaps.
Oh.
It's good, though. He
No.
found the cat.
He found a cat at a shelter, and it has a great tip at the end, and he spray paints it, and he is the hero at the rehearsal dinner for finding Jinx, the cat.
But that's a horrible idea. Why would he do that?
I think just the stress of having to come through was so high.
That he had to
just
spray
did
paint a cat.
He couldn't go back to Jack and tell him he didn't succeed. They go back to the house and they find that the imposter cat has destroyed the dress, the plates, the glass, the decor, everything.
Yeah. I'm glad you skipped over the chase scene. The chase scene is actually my favorite scene.
Okay, so then they all come to a point. Everything comes to a point right here.
Yes, Greg just loses his mind.
He does. He basically just snaps. Jinx isn't Jinx. He spray painted the tail. He basically isn't the hero that everybody thought he was. He comes. It all just comes out. He's honest about it. Then blames Jack that he's been working on a secret mission. He hasn't retired from the CIA. It's a honeymoon to Thailand for Debbie and her new husband. Greg again feels like a dumbass.
Yeah,
Jack.
Greg messed up.
He did in that sense.
Again.
He probably shouldn't have. Yeah. Jack goes on about how he's a liar and he looked into his background and he never took the MCATs and.
So you lied to me about everything, huh, Greg? You lied about the cat, about the fire, about the MCATs.
Didn't lie about the MCATs. Come on, Pam. Don't you see what's happening here? Your dad has totally turned you against me.
I didn't turn her against you, Greg. You did that to yourself.
No one is mad at Jack, though. Everyone is mad at Greg.
Well, yeah, because Greg messed up. Greg had a fake. It's an imposter cat that he brought into this house. The cat destroyed the wedding dress.
Pam does nothing. No one stops him from leaving, including Pam. Like and then they find out that Greg is not actually his first name. They find out that it's Gaylord Fokker.
Right, because so Jack looked up the MCAT scores for a Greg Fokker.
Right.
And that person had failed the MCAT. So he was like, Greg lied to us even about that. Turns out when you look up Gaylord Fokker, which is his actual name, he
aced it.
He aced it, yeah. But yeah, we find out that's his real name, which of course, 2000s comedy, you gotta make some silly jokes. Yeah, slapstick.
Yeah, totally.
Jokes about that, sure.
Mm-hmm. So Greg has to leave, and he's at the airport. The only one in the airport. He is the only one. The only time that it's appropriate to go to the desk to board the plane ahead of your own row being called is when you are in fact the only person there and there is no one else in the airport.
No, I disagree with you. How can you agree with that?
What do you mean?
No, I don't disagree with what you're saying. I'm disagree that you're saying it.
Why?
Because Sarah is the person who, if they call rows A through C, if you're in row D, do you get up and go in line?
No.
No, exactly.
Well, people do.
Exactly.
And then
people
they just randomly stand there waiting for D to be called.
So you know who Sarah is in this movie? She's not Greg Fokker. She is that airport attendant. That
No,
would be you.
she's horrible.
Excuse me, sir. We
Oh my God.
have not called your row yet. He's like, I'm the only
No.
person here. No, sorry.
But that's
You
the
can't
only
get in.
time that it would work. He's the only one there. He's probably going to be the only. Well, which was interesting that there weren't more people because there were a lot of people on the plane.
That's a good point.
So, like, where were the other people? Why was he boarding last?
That's a good point.
Yeah. Anyway, my favorite scene is the plane scene.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, I'm not going to talk about that till later. But in the end, luckily, Jack gets him out of that situation, gives him another polygraph with his hands, like a manual polygraph test, and asks him if he will love Pam forever, and then brings him back to the house to propose to Pam.
So sweet. And then
It
they
is.
also tee it up for a sequel because they're like,
They
wow, I
do.
guess we need to meet his parents now.
Yes, yes.
Which I didn't really remember. How long after this did Meet the Fockers come out?
2004.
Oh, so it was 4 years, which is
Yeah. And
a
then
little while, but not too long.
Yeah, and then the third movie.
Oh my God, there's a third movie?
Yes, it's called Little Fockers.
Oh, yes, I
And
remember that.
it was released in 2010.
Okay.
Quick facts.
Quick facts.
This is a remake of a 1992 independent film. Greg Gliana and Mary Ruth Clark wrote and starred in Meet the Parents, a 75-minute film that Gliana also directed with a budget of $100,000. They weren't able to find a distributor and eventually sold the rights to Universal Studios.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
This movie was the 7th highest grossing film of 2000 and earned back its initial budget of $55 million in just 11 days. It remained in the U.S. top 10 box office for 11 weeks.
Wow, good job.
At one point, Steven Spielberg was going to direct this movie. Jim Carrey came up with the name Fokker. At one point, Jim Carrey was going to play the star Greg when Steven Spielberg was set to direct.
I think Jim Carrey could also do it back in 2000.
Yeah, I think
it would
so,
be
too.
a little bit zanier, though.
That is the perfect word for that. Jim Carrey is zany.
He's too zany, I think.
Yes.
Or not too zany, it just would have become
It would have
more
been
zany.
different. Yeah, it would have been a different vibe.
Yeah.
Naomi Watts auditioned to play the role of Pam.
Oh, I love her.
She auditioned at least 5 times. Julia Stiles also auditioned for the part of Pam.
She could do it too.
Yeah, she could, but dropped out because of 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh, she made the right choice.
Big time. The premise of this movie is based on truth and lies. The scene where Jack meets Greg for the first time, Jack says, "It's my way or the Long Island Expressway." This, of course, abbreviates to lie. L-I-E. Ben Stiller proposed to his girlfriend, Christine Taylor, during the film's production. He said that it was like Meet the Parents in real life, because Christine's father is an intimidating guy who owns a security company. We're good friends now, but at the time, I was in the basement rec room saying, "I really would like to marry your daughter." He's a man of few words, but he was very welcoming. I was more nervous asking him than asking her, he said.
Oh, wow.
The movie's original opening scene was too expensive to film. It opened to Greg proposing to Pam during a Cubs game at Wrigley Field and failing at it. To save money, they moved it to take place outside of a school instead. Robert De Niro came up with the idea for the lie detector.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. While he was researching a role, he read up on polygraphers. It wasn't originally in the script, but it was added, and it fit perfectly with Jack being an ex-CIA agent.
He would have a polygraph test
He
in
would.
his basement, or in his,
He should.
whatever that was.
Yeah. Greg's character was influenced by Dustin Hoffman's character in the movie The Graduate. They were both people who were misunderstood. Interestingly enough, Dustin Hoffman plays Greg's dad, Bernie Fokker.
He is the Mr. Fokker.
He is Mr. Fokker. The pharmacy used in the movie stayed open while they were filming in it. It was a real pharmacy. Whenever the actors would finish a take, the actual cashier would get back to work and ring through customers.
Oh, that's funny.
That scene was mostly improvised. The name Fokker was almost changed. The Motion Picture Association said they couldn't use the last name Fokker unless they found somebody with the actual surname Fokker. I'm guessing they did, in fact, find somebody with the surname Fokker.
I was going to say, during this whole podcast, I've been like, am I going to have to go back and edit all this out? Am I going to have to bleep all the Fokkers? But
No.
It's not really, that is a real name.
Surname, it is.
So,
yep.
It's fine.
Christopher Walken, Anthony Hopkins, and Al Pacino were considered to play the role of Jack.
I like all of those. Christopher Walken is a very intimidating man as well.
Oh my God. Yes, 100%. Same with Anthony Hopkins.
That's why, because Christopher Walken's character in Wedding Crashers is
Yes.
also like the father figure in
It
that
is.
romantic comedy, and he's also very intimidating.
Yep.
A little bit of aloof. I don't like Al Pacino, though. He'd be
No,
too...
I don't like Al
yeah.
Pacino as well.
Just not for this role.
Right, yes. Oh, yes. Generally speaking. Yeah.
I'm sure he's a nice guy.
Yeah. Mr. Jinx was played by two cats. They were named Bailey and Misha.
What?
De Niro ended up really liking the cats and would keep kibble in his pockets to keep them close. This movie inspired a cat toilet training product.
Oh my God.
It was called Litter Quitter, a toilet training tool for cats. It comes with plastic rings you put over the toilet seat. Gradually, the hole in the rings gets bigger until the rings aren't needed at all. The cats on set weren't actually trained to use the toilet. If you are on a plane and they have the movie Meet the Parents, you will not see the airplane scene. It was cut out of the in-flight version, and this is probably due to the word bomb.
Right, because he makes a joke about saying bomb on an airplane.
Yes.
Yeah.
In that same scene, when Greg is having his outburst on the plane, a man in the background can be seen trying not to laugh.
Oh, really?
Jay Roach, the director, wanted the whole movie to feel like an anxiety dream for Greg.
Well, great. Mission accomplished.
I 100% think he hit that out of like the ballpark for sure.
So uncomfortable.
Jay Roach also did his best to make Ben Stiller feel uncomfortable, and Ben hated his clothes in this movie. Jay said that this was all part of the plan to keep him as uncomfortable as Greg.
Oh, so the actor himself was also uncomfortable.
Yes.
Great job,
Yeah.
Jay. I'm sure nobody wants to work with you ever. He changed my clothes so that I hated that too.
Well, do you notice in the Austin Power movies, there's only really one actor who plays all the parts?
Yeah, exactly.
It's the only no.
Like 80%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike Myers is the only guy I wanted to work with him.
It was Ben Stiller's idea to make Greg a nurse. In the car chase scene, the lights really did change from green to red as fast as they were shown in the movie. If you look closely, you'll see that it's largely composed of close-ups of Ben Stiller and Robert De Niro. This is because they shot their scenes on separate nights.
Oh, interesting.
When Greg is in the pharmacy with Jack, the song Day by Day by Godspell is playing in the store in the background. Greg uses those lyrics of this song when he is saying grace at dinner.
Oh, wow. What a catch.
Meet the Parents is among the 1001 movies you must see before you die, edited by Steven Snyder. Jack's Thai is extremely poor. He is constantly repeating the word what in Thai, making it seem like it's a longer conversation than it is.
Oh, so he was actually speaking Thai. It was just...
What?
What?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Production designers built the full interior of the house inside a giant armory in Brooklyn, New York. They wanted a tasteful Republican feel, so the colors are red, white, and blue.
Best scenes. The car chase scene. Greg, it's at the point where Greg has replaced a Jinxie cat with an imposter animal. Now, Jack finds out that this replacement has been happened because the neighbor calls and says, hey, like, we found Jinx. So who's the cat in the house? Greg lied to everybody. I love this moment because the entire time up until this point in the movie, Jack and Greg have very much been playing, no pun intended, like a cat and mouse game.
Yes, that's a good reference.
Against each other. Jack kind of manipulating and antagonizing Greg. But this was the first scene where it kind of felt like, okay, all the cards are on the table. Greg lied to Jack. Jack knows that Greg lied. And Greg has probably figured out that Jack has figured out that I lied. No tiptoeing around each other anymore. This is happening. And then, of course, it culminates in the big blow-up afterward. But just the car chase itself, where they're, like, staring each other down, and Ben Stiller's, like, giving them the eyes. I was getting amped up for Greg. I'm like, yeah, you show him. And then, of course, Greg loses the race and, toils away. But it just felt, it was a culmination of everything that was happening in the movie.
I found it weird, though, how they notice Greg is driving like a maniac, but in Jack's car, it's as if nothing is happening. Like, when they get home, everybody makes fun of Greg and his inability to drive, but, like, Jack, it's just status quo, normal. He just didn't also do stunt driving. Like, I just don't get it. The poor guy.
That's back to that anxiety-ridden dream that Jay Roach is trying to make out of this movie. It's all Greg's fault.
I feel it.
It's all Greg's fault all the time.
It is. All the time. All the time. My best scene is the airport aisle scene when he's trying to fit his checked baggage or his carry-on, which should be checked baggage, into the overhead compartment, and the stewardess, who gave him a hard time about even getting onto the plane, continues giving him a hard time. And then he kind of breaks into the bomb.
I don't want to check my bag, okay? And by the way, your airline, you suck at checking bags, okay? Because I already did that once and you lost it. And then I had everything screwed up very badly for me, okay?
Well, I can assure you that your bag will be placed safely below deck with the other luggage.
Oh, yeah? How do you know my bag will be safe below with the other luggage? Huh? Are you physically going to take my bag and put it beneath the plane? Are you going to go right now outside with the guys with the earmuffs and go put it in there?
No.
No? Okay. Then shut your pie hole and listen to me when I say that I am finished with the checking of the bags conversation.
Sir, we have a policy on this airline that if a bag is this large,
okay,
you
know what?
Take it.
Just grab me a little paws off of my bag, okay? It's not like I have a bomb in here. It's not like I want to blow up the plane.
Sir!
I just want to
It is just so funny.
You can't say bomb.
You
bomb
definitely can't. You should not. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. But that scene is just classically hilarious.
It's fun to watch Greg crack and kind of crumble a little bit.
Yeah.
Like when he's kind of belittling Jack when he confronts him. He's like, "Oh, you speak Thai. You speak Thai really well, Jack. Well, why don't you tell them?"
Hey, Pam, guess what? Daddy's planning a little covert operation in Thailand for the day after the wedding. Did you know that?
You are?
Round and round we go, Jack. Hey, I bet everybody would love to hear about your little rendezvous in the parking lot of the Oyster Bay Drug and Sundry. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Where the guy gave you the passports and the documents? Or how about your little phone call in Thai?
Jack can't talk Thai.
Oh, no, Dina, Jack can talk Thai. Jack talked Thai very well.
I really like Ben Stiller when he's a little bit unhinged, kind of like his character in Dodgeball.
Yes. Oh,
where he's
yeah.
like, "Ooh, okay, all right then."
Yeah.
That's my favorite kind of Ben Stiller.
I do,
And he was getting to that
appreciate
point. He kind of hit that point in the airplane.
He did. Yes. Yeah. It was just. It is a great scene. Honorable mentions.
My honorable mention. There is one specific character from this movie I remember vividly outside of the trio of Pam, Jack, and Greg. Who is that character?
I don't know who.
It's got to be Jinxie Cat.
Oh, Jinxie Cat. Mr. Jinx.
Mr. Jinx. Even like Owen Wilson, the mom, they all had great moments, but like if I'm thinking of this movie, Jinxie Cat is like the fourth best character in the movie, if that makes sense. And like a great character arc. Can we talk about Jinxie Cat?
Yes. It's almost as if like they were an actor.
Gets adopted by a retired CIA agent. Learns how to use the toilet as a cat. Great job. Replaces that CIA agent's own son as, like, in the hierarchy of the house, I think, right? Then Jinxie Cat gets lost. Gets replaced by an imposter. I think Jinx, aside from Greg, has the wildest ride in this movie. And I think he's the next most important character after those three.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I do like Mr. Jinx's character. Like, when I do think of the movies, all three of them, one thing is always consistent. That cat.
Yeah. Jinxie Cat.
Jinxie Cat. My honorable mention, or should I say dishonorable mention,
is Pam. Okay.
As the worst girlfriend in a rom-com.
Wow.
Why, you ask?
You're swinging hard.
Yes. Because she just sits there, either offering him up to help when he has no idea what to do, or just watches him sink and doesn't help him in any way. I have examples.
Okay.
Let me go through them for you.
Okay.
Offers him up to go with Jack to the pharmacy. Just met him.
Whoa, but that's an opportunity.
Totally, but still. Lets him sit there, giving grace at dinner when he is Jewish. Then breaks the urn and says nothing. Breakfast in the morning when her sister and her fiance's family arrive. Doesn't even wake him up to tell him to get dressed and that everyone was ready to go and was waiting for him. She then lets him fend for himself when she says that he doesn't have any clothes to wear. Yeah. She is most unhelpful human ever. She tells him to go wake up her brother, who he's never met before in his entire life, and asks him to borrow some of his clothes to wear. Just take the guy shopping already.
Yeah, I'll agree. That was kind of weird. Or like, you're the sister, go into your brother's room, grab a few things.
Exactly. Like, why are you telling him to go knock on a guy's?
Yeah.
Like, what? that was ridiculous.
I agree with
that. That was the biggest one. For
Okay,
me.
that's
I was
the
like,
biggest
are
one.
you
Okay,
kidding
all
me?
right.
I would never do that to
Here we
somebody.
go.
Watching her flirt with her ex in the pool, gets constantly made fun of, gets amped up, and then hits the ball hard into her sister's face. When Jack tells them not to fool around in the bedroom, she wants to.
That's right.
When Jinx goes missing, Pam offers up his services to go look for the cat.
Another opportunity.
Yeah, because he knows exactly where to go in a place that he's never been to. Doesn't stick up for him when he gets kicked out of the house and told to leave.
Yeah, that was kind of sad.
Rant done.
That was sad. I'll agree with you there. What should have beens?
What should have beens?
Do you have one?
I have one. It's not like fully thought out, but like I'll just throw it out there, you know? Kevin should end up with Kristen Wiig from Bridesmaids.
Kristen Wiig, Bridesmaids. Okay,
Yeah.
why?
Because I think she needs to a little bit more spontaneous in her life and more adventure, but I think it's there, like it's there.
That's interesting.
Yeah, why?
I went with Kevin Raleigh, Owen Wilson.
Okay.
He should end up with Bob from Runaway Bride.
Who's Bob?
Because remember Bob, he's the guy who she leaves at the altar. Like they're having the rehearsal dinner.
Okay.
Right? It's
Yeah.
Bob. He's a football coach,
Yes.
adventure junkie.
Okay, I like that.
Much
That's
like Kevin. So I'm just thinking like Kevin and Bob, I think they've both been done dirty by some females in
Yeah,
their lives.
yeah.
They need to bro out a little bit and they need to kind of dive deeply into their hobbies.
I like that.
Both of them have a hobby
They would do well together.
of being on adventures, of
Yes.
doing these extreme kind of
That is great.
Yeah. It's male camaraderie what should have been.
I like that. Rewatchability. Chemistry, 4. Storyline, 5. Thirst factor, 3. Imagination, 4.5. Soundtrack, 2. Cheese, 4. Total score, 3.75 out of 5.
Okay, so I've got chemistry, 5. Storyline, 5. Thirst factor, which I mistakenly wrote as thrust factor on here. It autocorrected. Very strange. Don't love that. Thirst factor of 2.
They could mean the same thing,
Thrust factor and thirst factor. Yeah, they do kind of exist in the same universe.
Yeah.
Imagination, 4.5. Soundtrack, 4. Cheese, 5. For a total score, 4.25.
Wow.
What was your total score?
3.75.
Whoa! This is an instant classic,
I
Sarah.
know. I just like the soundtrack. I don't remember a freaking thing from it.
But it was
and I
like,
gave it a 2 instead of a 1.
It was the ambiance.
No.
It was just the impending
I
doom
don't
for Greg at all
remember.
times.
I don't remember a song from the movie. I
Yeah,
got to
but-
at least remember one.
Okay, all right. And this has been the Rom-Com Rewind of Meet the Parents. If you have any questions, concerns, you just want to chat with us about movies that are upcoming, movies that we've done, or you just want to talk, at Rom-Com Rewind on Instagram. You can follow us on Spotify and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Leave a review there as well. Oh, and we're on TikTok too.
Thanks for listening.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.